The snow falls hard against the Christmas market. Golden lights blur through white flakes. The smell of cinnamon and roasted chestnuts cuts through the freezing air. Most people move in clusters, families holding hands, couples laughing, children running between booths. The warmth of belonging surrounds them like a blanket. Then there's Zahara. She sits alone by the hot cocoa stand, wheels locked on the frozen pavement. Her beige sweater hangs loose on her small frame. Her dark skin glows under the white lights strung overhead. Her hands grip the sides of her wheelchair, not because she's afraid, because she's watching, always watching. Her eyes move across the crowd like she's searching for something invisible to everyone else. A man stops at the edge of the market. Black coat tailored so sharp it could cut glass. Red collar tucked beneath, just visible. Hair swept back. He doesn't move like other people. No rushing, no wandering, just stillness. The kind of stillness that makes the air feel different. The kind of quiet that speaks before words ever do. His name is Daichi Ryu. In the streets where power moves in whispers, they call him the Phoenix. Rebuilt empires from dust. Took down entire families without raising his voice. Tonight, he's here for hot cocoa, but his eyes land on her. Something happens in that moment. No recognition on his face. Just focus. Pure, unbroken focus. He walks toward the cocoa stand. Each step sounds louder than it should. His coat brushes past families. Nobody blocks him. They sense something, an invisible line they shouldn't cross. He stands in front of Zahara. She doesn't flinch, doesn't lower her eyes, doesn't do what most adults do around him, pretend he's not there. Why are you alone? His voice is soft, almost gentle, wrong for a man who looks like him. Zahara tilts her chin up. I'm not alone. My mom's working. She's just too proud to ask for help. Her words land differently than she expects. He leans closer, not threatening, just closer. She can see the color of his eyes now, dark, ancient, tired. But there's something else there, something that looks for truth the way most people look for escape. What's your name? He asks. Zahara, and you're someone important. I can tell because people stop moving when you walk. Daichi almost smiles. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. We need to know if you're experiencing this story with us right now. He sits on the bench beside her wheelchair. The market keeps spinning around them. Carousel music plays from somewhere far away. Steam rises from cocoa cups. But right here, time feels different. Slower, like the world paused to watch what happens next. How old are you? He asks. 8. My legs don't work anymore. They stopped 2 years ago, after a car hit me. The driver didn't stop. She says it the way someone talks about the weather. No drama, no seeking sympathy, just facts. Daichi's jaw tightens. He knows something about that hit, something about drivers who don't stop, something about accidents that disappear. Your mother knows you're here? He asks. She's selling hot cocoa 5 booths over. She doesn't know I left my spot. She worries too much. Zahara pauses. Do you have someone who worries about you? The question hangs there. Daichi doesn't answer right away. His hand moves to his coat pocket. Out comes a business card. He places it in her small hand. If you ever need anything, he says, call me. Zahara looks at the card. No name printed, just a phone number. She looks back at him. Why would you give this to an 8-year-old? Because you didn't ask for anything. Most people want something from me. You just wanted to talk. He stands. His coat opens as he moves. She catches a glimpse of something. A shoulder holster, dark leather, metal catching light. Her eyes widen for just a second. Then they return to his face. Wait, Zahara calls out as he turns to leave. What do I call you if I need to? Daichi pauses, looks back at this small girl who showed no fear. Call me Ryu. And Zahara, that strength you're carrying? Don't lose it. He walks away, disappears into the crowd. The market swallows him whole. But something in the air around Zahara has shifted. The card sits in her palm like a secret, like proof that someone finally saw her. What she doesn't know is that he saw more than her face that night. He saw her courage. He heard her truth. And in his world, truth is the most dangerous thing of all. What happens when a man like Daichi Ryu decides to protect someone? When power becomes a shield instead of a weapon. Zahara wheels herself back to her mother's cocoa stand. The card stays pressed in her hand. Her mother, Maricela, is pouring hot liquid into a paper cup. Her apron is stained. Her fingers are cracked from the cold. She's been working since sunrise, 5 hours at this standalone. Before this, she cleaned office buildings. Before that, she delivered newspapers. Maricela sees Zahara rolling back, and her body goes tense. "Baby, what are you doing moving around? You scare me half to death." "I was just over there, Mama. I wanted to watch the lights." Zahara opens her palm, shows the card. "A man gave me this." Maricela's hand freezes on the cocoa dispenser. The cup tilts. Hot chocolate spills across the counter. She grabs the card from Zahara's hand like it's burning. Her face changes color. "Where did you get this?" Her voice drops to a whisper. "He was nice. He sat with me. He asked my name." Maricela's hands shake. She knows that phone number. She knows what it means to receive a call from that line. 3 years ago, her hospital got a call. One call. And suddenly, lawyers disappeared. Police reports vanished. A case that existed became a case that never happened. She tucks the card into her apron pocket, puts her hands on her daughter's shoulders. "Listen to me carefully, Zahara. If anyone ever shows up again, if anyone contacts us, you tell me immediately. Do you understand?" "Mama, he was kind. Kindness and danger look the same sometimes, baby. That's what I'm trying to teach you." But Zahara doesn't understand. She saw something different in his eyes. She saw someone who carried weight the way her mother carries weight. Someone broken in a way that had nothing to do with legs not working. That night, in their room above the auto shop, Zahara lies on their shared mattress. No heat, one thin blanket. Her mother thinks she's sleeping, but Zahara hears everything. She hears her mother sobbing quietly into her pillow. She hears the desperation in those tears, not for herself, but for her daughter. A mother losing hope one cold night at a time. Zahara pulls out the card from under her pillow, stares at it, at that single phone number. A phone number to someone who saw her, someone who didn't look away. Meanwhile, in a penthouse across the city, Daichi Ryu sits at a desk made of black marble. Floor-to-ceiling windows show the entire skyline. Snow covers the buildings like a blanket of cold truth. He has a file open in front of him. Old photographs, police reports, medical records. Hit and run. 2 years ago, the victim, one 8-year-old girl. The driver, one Richard Castellano, son of a wealthy family, connected to the old syndicate. The case was closed immediately. Too immediately. Someone made it disappear. Daichi knows who. He used to be that someone. He was the one who erased cases, who made problems vanish, who turned violence into silence. That was 4 years ago, before he took power, before he rebuilt the empire and made his own rules. The girl's description from the hospital report reads, minor with complete paralysis from waist down. Psychological trauma, severe. Prognosis, permanent disability. But the girl he met at the market didn't look traumatized. She looked alive, more alive than most adults he knows. He reaches for his phone, dials. A man answers on the second ring. "Yes, sir. I need everything on a Castellano family. Everything. And I need it in 3 days." "Understood, sir. May I ask?" Daichi hangs up. He stands at the window. Snow continues to fall. Somewhere out there, a girl in a worn wheelchair carries hope like a weapon. And somewhere in the machinery of his past, someone made sure she suffered for it. That ends now. He picks up the business card he'd given her, identical to the one in his hand. Numbers matching. He wonders if she'll call. He wonders if he wants her to. Because if she does, if she really does, then everything changes. His phone buzzes. A text from one of his men. Surveillance complete. Subject and child returned to residence. Current location, above auto shop on Maple Street. Poverty level, severe. Daichi reads it twice. His jaw clenches. They're being watched now. Protected, whether they know it or not. He looks back at the snow, at the city, at the weight of every decision he's about to make. What Daichi doesn't know yet is that this isn't just about an old case anymore. This is about redemption. This is about a chance to undo what he built in the dark. And sometimes, the most dangerous power move isn't what you do next. It's what you decide you won't do anymore. 2 days pass. Maricela works double shifts. The cocoa stand, a restaurant kitchen, a clothing store, cleaning, changing rooms. Her feet bleed into her socks. Her shoulders collapse inward from exhaustion. She hasn't slept more than 90 minutes at a time since Zahara showed her that card. She keeps checking to make sure Zahara stays in their room. Locked door. Safe. But safe is a word Maricela doesn't believe in anymore. Zahara sits by the window, watching the street below. A black car has been parked across the street for 6 hours. Sometimes a man sits in the driver's seat. Sometimes the car is empty, but it's always there, watching, waiting. She recognizes the pattern now. Protection. Her mother recognizes it differently. She recognizes it as a trap. The phone rings. Not their phone. They don't have one. The landline at the auto shop downstairs. The owner yells up, "Girl upstairs. Someone's asking for you." Zahara's heart stops. She wheels herself downstairs. The phone receiver sits on the counter. She lifts it slowly. "Hello." Her voice is small. "It's Ryu. I need your mother." His voice is different over the phone. Colder. Business. "She's not here. She's working." "Where?" "What?" A pause. "Because I need to speak with her. It's important." Zahara gives him the address of the restaurant. She knows she probably shouldn't, but her mother is drowning. Zahara can see it happening in slow motion. The way her eyes go vacant. The way her hands shake when she thinks nobody is watching. 2 hours later, Maricela is wiping down the stainless steel counter when the door opens. The temperature drops. Customers feel it. The owner feels it. Everyone senses something massive has entered the room. Daichi Ryu walks toward her like he owns the space. The uniform he wears is invisibility. People's eyes slide off him like oil on water. But Maricela sees him. She's been waiting for this moment since the Christmas market. Her hands stop moving. "Ms. Maricela," he says. His tone doesn't ask permission to speak. "We need to talk about your daughter. Stay away from her." Maricela's voice cracks. "I don't know what you want, but she's just a child." "I know." He steps closer. "I also know about the accident. I know about the driver. I know about the hospital that fired you." Maricela's face goes white. Around her, co-workers pretend they're not listening. But they're listening. Everyone is listening. "How do you?" "Because the man who hurt your daughter was working for people I used to work for. And the people who buried that case, I gave them permission to do it." The words hang in the air like a confession. Maricela grabs the counter to keep standing. 4 years ago, I made a lot of people disappear," Daichi continues. "Problems evaporated. Crimes went silent. Your daughter's case was one of them. I didn't know her name. I didn't know her face. I just knew the file needed closing. And now," Maricela whispers, "now I know both." He places an envelope on the counter. This contains the original police reports, surveillance footage, the driver's confession, recorded before it was made to vanish, and proof of who ordered his protection. Maricela doesn't touch it. "Why are you doing this?" "Because she asked to protect her, and I realized I used to protect the people who hurt her instead." Daichi turns to leave, then stops. "Your daughter is remarkable. She didn't ask me for anything, didn't beg, didn't perform weakness. She just saw me and decided to trust. In my world, that's extinct." He walks toward the door. Maricela finds her voice. "What do you want from us?" He pauses. "Nothing. I want to give. For once, I want to give instead of take." Then he's gone. Maricela stands frozen, envelope in hand, her entire reality cracking open. The men watching from the parking lot make notes. The investigation is already underway. What Maricela doesn't know is that her life is about to become public. What she doesn't realize is that tomorrow, her daughter's case will break open in ways that shake the entire city. And what she absolutely doesn't expect is that a man like Daichi Ryu doesn't do anything without a reason. The news arrives at 6 in the morning. Maricela's phone, a cheap prepaid, buzzes with messages. News alerts, then calls, then more calls. A journalist wants her statement. A lawyer wants to represent her. A police captain wants to reopen the investigation. The buried case is surfacing. Daichi's people leaked everything. Photographs, medical records, the driver's recorded confession. His voice admitting he was speeding, that he saw the girl, that he panicked and drove away. His voice saying exactly who told him to keep quiet. By noon, Richard Castellano's face appears on every screen in the city. The wealthy family's lawyers issue statements, denials, threats, but the evidence is overwhelming. The city is watching. The media is watching. The police have no choice but to move. Zahara watches from the window of their room. The black car is gone. Now, there's a different car. A silver one. Men inside wearing suits that don't fit the neighborhood. Protection, she realizes. Real protection this time. Maricela paces. She hasn't slept. Her mind moves through possibilities like someone walking through a burning building. This is too big. This is too much. This will bring attention. Attention means danger. Then her phone rings. Daichi's number, the one from the business card. Answer it, he says immediately. I'm sending someone to your door. Don't be afraid. I'm terrified, Maricela responds. Good. Fear means you understand the stakes. But you can't run from this. Running makes you look guilty. Standing still makes you look strong. The knock comes 10 minutes later. A woman, gray suit, professional. She holds papers. Ms. Maricela, the woman says. My name is Attorney Sandra Williams. I've been retained to represent you and your daughter regarding the civil suit against the Castellano family. This case is going to move fast, very fast. Within 72 hours, we expect an arrest warrant for Richard Castellano. Maricela takes the papers. She's never seen a legal team move this quickly. It's not natural. It's not normal. It's power operating in plain sight. The man who helped this happen, Maricela asks. Why would he? Sandra pauses. He didn't tell me his reasons. He just said to make sure justice happened, and to make sure your daughter knew she was worth fighting for. That night, Zahara can't sleep either. Her mother sits on the edge of their mattress. For the first time in 2 years, Maricela cries in front of her daughter. Not silent tears, full crying, breaking open crying. Mama, Zahara reaches for her hand. I'm sorry, baby. I'm so sorry I couldn't protect you. I'm sorry I let them bury what happened. Zahara squeezes her mother's fingers. You did protect me. You kept going when you wanted to stop. You're the strongest person I know. Maricela looks at her daughter. Paralyzed from the waist down, yet the most powerful thing in this room. A child carrying hope like its armor. How did you know to trust him? Maricela asks. That man. How did you know? Because he sat down like he was tired. And people who are tired have stopped pretending. They show you who they really are. Maricela doesn't understand yet, but she will. Across the city, Daichi moves through his penthouse like a ghost. He's made the call. The machinery is running. The case will break. The driver will be arrested. The family will crumble. Justice will happen. But justice isn't why he did this. He did this because 4 years ago, his sister died. Because he couldn't save her. Because the men who trafficked her were connected to the Castellano family. Because everyone who knew about it turned their heads. Now the heads will turn back. Now the world will watch. And for the first time since his sister died, Daichi Ryu feels something that looks like purpose. But power, he's learning, has a way of crushing what it touches. And the people closest to him are about to discover that protecting someone means becoming visible to everyone who wants to hurt them. 3 weeks later, the arrest warrant for Richard Castellano is executed at 5 in the morning. National news covers it. His expensive lawyers fight it. His family's foundation tries to distance itself. But the evidence is undeniable. Zahara watches the television from a new room. Not above an auto shop anymore. Daichi provided a temporary apartment. Heat works here. Warm water runs. But Zahara barely notices these things. She's focused on the screen, on watching the man who hit her get arrested. The case file reopened showed something new. Security footage the original police never reviewed. The hit was deliberate. Castellano was speeding through a school zone. He saw Zahara. He chose not to stop. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part was that his father called the police department, called hospitals, called judges, made the case disappear with money and connections, made sure nobody investigated, made sure his son stayed free. That system is breaking now. Maricela sits beside Zahara. She's working with Daichi's lawyers on a civil suit. She's been offered a settlement, a large one, enough to change everything. But every number they mention, Maricela hesitates. What if I'm doing this for the money? She whispers to herself. Zahara hears her. Mama, you're doing this so it never happens to another kid. That's not money. That's justice. Daichi arranges a meeting, not at his penthouse, at a neutral location, a quiet hotel lobby with no security cameras. Just him and Maricela and Zahara. When he walks in, he looks different, not weaker, different, like something is healing inside him, and the healing hurts. He sits across from them. The driver will serve time. His family is trying to suppress the evidence, but it won't work. The city is watching now. Everyone is watching. Maricela nods. Why did you do this? Because I was part of making the world unjust. Because I spent 10 years destroying lives instead of saving them. Because your daughter looked at me like I was worth more than I believed I was. He pulls out documents. These are adoption papers. I want to offer you and Zahara legal protection under my family name. Ryu, it's not a small thing. It makes you visible. It makes you targets. Maricela's breath stops. You're asking to adopt us? I'm offering you safety. But Zahara speaks before her mother can. No. Both adults turn to look at her. No. Daichi asks. I don't want you to adopt me. Zahara says clearly. I want you to adopt my mom. Silence fills the room. Daichi's eyes widen. Maricela's hands start shaking. Why? Daichi asks. Because she's the one who walks even when she can't stand. She's the one who works 3 jobs and still makes sure I eat. She's the one who needs saving. Not me. I'm already surviving. But my mama? She's dying. Slowly, but dying. Maricela stands up. She walks to the bathroom. The sounds of her breaking come through the walls. Zahara looks at Daichi. Her 8-year-old eyes carry the weight of someone who's lived 1,000 years. I don't want to be someone who got saved, Zahara continues. I want to be someone who knew when to ask for someone else to be saved. Daichi sits completely still. Around him, the entire world shifts. A child has just taught him what power really means. It's not about control. It's about knowing when to use your strength to lift someone else. When Maricela returns, her face is wet. Her eyes are red, but something in her spine is different now. Straighter. If you adopt her, Maricela says to Daichi, you're not adopting a child. You're adopting the thing that breaks all of us. Hope. And people like us, we'll make you keep it. We'll make you believe in it. Even when the world tells you it's impossible. Daichi looks at this woman standing in front of him. A woman who raised a daughter who could redefine strength for a man like him. A woman who worked herself to breaking to prove that love means more than survival. He picks up the adoption papers. Tears form in his eyes, something that hasn't happened since his sister died. Then I'll sign, he says quietly. What Zahara doesn't know yet is that adopting her mother will change everything. It will make them visible to people who want vengeance. It will make Daichi's enemies see a weakness they can exploit. It will pull them all into a war that's been waiting to happen. But what Zahara does know in that moment is that sometimes saving someone else is the only way to save yourself. Will Daichi's past rise up and destroy this new family? Will power protect them or consume them? We need to know. What do you think will happen next? Drop your predictions in the comments. Let us know what you think Daichi's enemies are planning. The apartment transforms overnight. Contractors arrive with tools and purpose. Paint goes on walls. Heating systems rumble to life. New furniture appears. New windows. New hope appears in every corner. Maricela stands in the doorway of what used to be their cold room. Now a warm bedroom with soft lights and carpet that doesn't smell like mold. She turns to find Daichi standing in the hallway. This is too much, she says. Her voice shakes. I can't accept this. You don't have a choice, Daichi replies calmly. The papers have already been filed. The adoption is moving forward. This is a family home now. Maricela's anger rises like fire. You can't just buy your way into our lives. You can't erase what happened by throwing money at it. Daichi steps closer. His eyes are steady. I'm not trying to erase anything. I'm trying to build something different. Strength isn't never needing help. Strength is knowing when you must accept it. She wants to argue. She wants to refuse. But Zahara wheels herself into the room behind them. She looks at the space, at the warmth, at the possibility written into every detail. "Mama," Zahara says softly, "we can stop running now." Maricela sinks onto the bed. The tears come. Not sad tears, exhausted tears. The kind that arrive after someone's been holding their breath for years. Daichi leaves the room, giving them privacy. In the hallway, his phone buzzes. A text from Marcus, his head of security. Castellano family making moves. Hiring outside muscle. They're planning something. Daichi reads it twice. The danger he brought to Maricela and Zahara by protecting them is now coming back. The machine he built, the power he accumulated, it always has a price. He walks to the window. The city spreads below him like a living thing. Somewhere out there, people who want revenge are sharpening their teeth. People connected to the old syndicate. People who see his adoption of Maricela and Zahara as weakness. That's exactly what they're about to learn it isn't. He makes a call. One call. The machinery starts moving. Men position themselves. Cameras activate. The perimeter tightens. Daichi Ryu is about to make sure that anyone who comes for his family finds nothing but walls. What everyone doesn't realize is that taking someone in isn't the same as becoming vulnerable. Sometimes it means becoming immovable. 2 weeks pass. The evidence against Richard Castellano keeps growing. Security footage surfaces. Financial records emerge. His father, Victor Castellano, gets implicated in the cover-up. News crews camp outside their estate. Protesters gather. The empire they built on corruption starts to crumble. But Victor isn't the type to go quietly. He reaches out to people, old contacts, men who operate in the spaces between law and chaos, men who know how to make problems disappear. He offers money, substantial money, enough to hire professionals, enough to turn this around. That message reaches Daichi through his network, a network that sees everything. Zahara doesn't know any of this. She sits in her new room doing homework. Her legs still don't work, but her mind moves faster than it used to. The confidence is different now. The safety changes everything. Her mother works now. Not 3 jobs. 1 job, a position at a nonprofit that helps families in crisis. She comes home with energy instead of empty. She laughs. Actually laughs. Something Zahara thought was extinct. Daichi meets with his inner circle. 3 men. Marcus, his security chief. Deshawn, his operations manager. And Khalid, his strategist. They sit in a room with no windows. No phones. The door is locked. Victor Castellano hired contractors, Deshawn reports. Ex-military, connected to Russian operations out of Brooklyn. They're planning something in the next 72 hours. Daichi's jaw clenches. Where? They haven't confirmed yet, but they're watching the apartment building. They're tracking patterns. They're building a profile. Then we move first, Khalid says. We take them out before they can move. No, Daichi responds. His voice is absolute. We let them try. We document everything. And then we end this permanently. Not with violence. With the law. Marcus nods slowly. Understanding rises in the room like smoke. Daichi isn't protecting his family with weapons. He's protecting them by turning their enemies over to a system they can't bribe. Not anymore. That evening, Daichi visits Maricela. She's in the kitchen preparing dinner. The smell of seasoned chicken and rice fills the air. A normal smell. A family smell. We need to talk, Daichi says. She turns, sees something in his face. What's happening? There are people who don't want this adoption to be real. They're going to try to stop it. Maricela sets down her spoon. How long do we have? Days. Maybe less. She looks towards Zahara's room. Are you telling me to take her and run? I'm telling you that running ends here. I'm telling you that standing still is how you win. I'm telling you that I have people watching who will make sure nothing happens. But you need to understand what you're stepping into. You need to understand that safety has a price. Maricela takes his face in her hands. My daughter asked a man with power to adopt me. Not her. Me. She understood something you're still learning. Sometimes love is the most powerful move in any room. Daichi's eyes fill with tears. Another crack in the armor. Another piece of humanity returning. "I won't let anything happen to either of you," he says. "I know," Maricela responds, "because you've already decided we're worth everything." Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next story that could change your perspective on what real strength looks like. The hospital sits gray against a gray sky. Zahara lies in a bed on the 4th floor. Pneumonia. The cold apartment from 2 years ago finally caught up with her immune system. It isn't severe, not yet, but it's serious enough that she needs antibiotics and monitoring. Maricela hasn't left her side. Daichi sits in the corner chair, a presence more than a person. The medical staff knows who he is. Nobody asks questions about the men stationed outside her room. Nobody questions why security is at every entrance. Everyone just understands that a girl named Zahara is now untouchable. But threats come anyway. A man arrives with flowers. Wrong flowers. The arrangement contains a small note. Marcus intercepts it before it reaches the room. The message is simple. She's not protected forever. Daichi reads it. His hand crumples the note into a ball. The man who delivered it is detained by police before he reaches the elevator. The flowers are tested. Nothing harmful, but the intent was clear. The message sent. Victor Castellano wants everyone to know that Daichi's protection has limits. Daichi steps outside Zahara's room, makes a phone call. One call. By the time he hangs up, Victor Castellano's house is surrounded by federal agents. The evidence that's been gathered, everything about the cover-up, everything about hiring the contractors, it's all being used to build a case. Victor Castellano is arrested at his estate. Richard Castellano is convicted based on the footage and confession. The machinery that used to protect them now destroys them. Zahara wakes that evening. Her fever has broken. Color returns to her face. Maricela weeps with relief. "Mama," Zahara's voice is weak. "Is it over?" "Yes, baby, it's over." But Zahara knows something is still happening. She can feel in the room, in the way Daichi stands, in the way guards move outside. Later that night, after Maricela falls asleep in a chair beside the bed, Zahara wheels her way to the window. The city glows below. Somewhere out there, justice moved. Somewhere people got caught. Somewhere, the system that was broken got fixed. Because someone finally decided that love was worth fighting for. She sees Daichi in the reflection of a glass, standing behind her, watching the same city. "Thank you," she whispers. He places his hand on her shoulder. "You did this, not me. You asked me to save your mother. You show me how." Drop your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done in Daichi's position? Have you ever had someone believe in you when the world didn't? The adoption papers are signed on a Tuesday morning. The judge smiles, an unusual expression given the circumstances. She looks at Daichi, at Maricela standing beside him, at Zahara in her wheelchair, small and strong and absolutely present. This court recognizes the legal adoption of Maricela Washington into the family unit of Daichi Ryu, the judge announces. All legal protections and inheritance rights are now in effect. Custody and guardianship of minor Zahara Washington remain with her mother, with Daichi Ryu listed as legal guardian and protector. It's official. The paperwork becomes real. Maricela's hands shake as she holds the documents. Her last name changes. Her life changes. Her future changes. All in the space of the judge's words. Walking out of the courthouse, reporters swarm. Cameras flash. Questions come rapid fire. But Daichi doesn't speak. He simply stands between the cameras and his family. A wall, a shield, a choice made visible. That evening, in their apartment, Maricela prepares dinner again. But this time it's different. This time, she's preparing it in a kitchen that belongs to her. This time, she's building a home instead of surviving in one. Zahara sits at the table, doing homework. Actually doing homework. Not worrying, not afraid. Just being an 8-year-old who has a future that looks different than yesterday. Daichi stands in the doorway, watching them. Watching the life that didn't exist 3 months ago. Watching the redemption he didn't believe was possible. His phone buzzes. A message from Deshawn. Victor and Richard Castellano both sentenced. Victor, 15 years. Richard, 12. Case closed. Your family is secure. Daichi puts the phone away. He walks to the dinner table, sits down. For the first time in his life, he doesn't sit at the head of the table making commands. He sits beside Zahara, helping her with a math problem. He sits beside Maricela, listening to her talk about a resident she helped at work. This is what power looks like when it stops destroying and starts building. This is what redemption feels like when it becomes real. But Zahara sees something different in Daichi's eyes. An incompleteness. A question. She sets down her pencil. "What are you thinking?" she asks. Daichi looks at her, sees through her, recognizes himself in her clarity. "I'm thinking about my sister," he says. "I'm thinking about all the people I couldn't save before you taught me how to save someone." Maricela reaches across the table, takes his hand. "Then you build something in her memory," Maricela says quietly. "You take this power, this protection, and you extend it to people like us. People who need someone to believe in them." An idea forms in that moment. An idea that changes everything. 6 months later, the Ryu Foundation opens its doors on the first cold day of winter. The building is massive, modern, built on the edge of the city where poverty lives alongside possibility. The sign reads, "The Ryu Foundation for Recovering Justice." Inside, mothers come, children come, people broken by systems that didn't protect them come, and they find lawyers who work for free. They find medical care that doesn't require money. They find someone who believes their case matters. Maricela runs it, not as an employee, as a director. Her expertise, suffering, survival, strength, becomes her credential. She knows what these families need because she's lived it. Zahara sits in a wheelchair near the reception area. She doesn't work there. She just exists there. But something about her presence changes everything. People walk in broken and see a girl who should be destroyed but isn't. That changes perspective. That changes possibility. Daichi stands in his office on the top floor. Windows overlook the city he used to rule through fear. Now, he rules it through purpose. The phone calls he makes aren't about making problems disappear. They're about making justice appear. He thinks about that Christmas market, about a girl in a wheelchair who looked at him and saw not a monster, but a possibility. About a woman who was drowning who became the person saving others. Snow falls outside the window. The same snow from 6 months ago. But everything is different now. Zahara wheels herself into his office. She does on her own now. Strength in her arms. Purpose in her eyes. "A new case came in," she says. A girl, 7 years old, hit by a car. The driver had connections. The case was buried. Daichi closes his eyes. The pattern. The terrible pattern that keeps repeating. "We'll handle it," he says. "I know," Zahara responds. She looks at him directly. "Because you learn that real power isn't about destroying enemies. It's about saving people." She wheels back to the door, then pauses. "And Daichi? I don't have a mother who cries in the dark anymore. But there's a girl downstairs who does. And she needs to know that someone sees her. Someone believes her. Someone will fight for her." Daichi stands, follows his daughter to the window. They look out over the city together. Below them, lights glow. Lives continue. Stories begin and end. "I'll meet her," Daichi says. And somewhere in that moment, the cycle breaks. Someone who was saved decides to save someone else. The power that was used for destruction becomes the power that builds redemption. That's how real transformation happens. Not through violence, not through dominance, through love recognizing itself in someone else and deciding that love is worth everything. Snow drifts past the window, mother and daughter laughing softly in the room below. Daichi watching, a man who was once called Phoenix, rebuilt from ashes, now builds something that heals instead of destroys. This is their story, but it's not the end of the story, because somewhere another child sits alone, another mother drowns, another injustice waits to be seen, and now there's someone who notices. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications right now so you don't miss the stories that come next. These are stories about real people, real pain, real redemption, Share this story in your comments. Tell us what moved you. Tell us if you've ever been the person who noticed when someone else needed saving. Because that's where change starts. That's where everything transforms. The Ryu Foundation keeps its doors open for one reason. Because one girl in a wheelchair taught a powerful man that the greatest strength is knowing when to lay down power and pick up compassion instead. What will you do with the power you have? Como bilo? Share this story, because the next person who needs saving might be watching right now, waiting for someone to notice them the way Daichi noticed Ahara. Turn on notifications. Share your thoughts. Let's keep building this community of people who believe that real strength is quiet, that real power protects the vulnerable, and that one person can change everything. Thank you for watching. See you next time.